Hey, Joxno here with a rather major update, I guess. I think so. Just to start it off, this is a tiny logo that I made earlier because I was bored. Yes, I know it's kind of simplistic, but I kind of like it. Yes, I actually did make all of it, even that little tiny sprite over there. I've never made a sprite in the entire time that I have lived on this planet. I've not made a sprite because, well, as you probably guessed by now, I'm a programmer. I'm not an artist, so I'm actually kind of happy how it turned out. So it's kind of nice, and the old world, that's what I'm calling the game. I guess it's official now. That's what I'm calling my project and my game. So, going over to the changes. Yeah, look at those tiles. The right one is unshaded, and the left one, I've added shading to it. Had to go in and edit every little tiny pixel. It worked out. Took me about an hour or so, which was kind of nice, but still a lot of time. Okay, so going to the changes. Compared to the last video, I've updated the water system, so now it can handle over 400,000. I mean, that's a rough estimation. I'm probably not gonna use that many water tiles, cause that is 40% of a 1024 times 1024 tile map. That's 40%. I mean, like, to put that into, I mean, I took that out of concept, but out of context. But just to give you a rough idea, it would roughly take probably half an hour to walk from one side of the map to the other one. And that's just walking in a straight line. And I'm not even done complete with the movement, and I haven't added, obstacles to pass and stuff, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go into detail on all of these three systems later on, but now it's just a general overview. So, what I've completed of the weather system is I've got moving clouds, and clouds actually do drop rain, as you might have seen from my previous video, where I had a 40-second clip of moving clouds, and they were raining. If you couldn't tell, they were actually raining. Yes, graphics problem there again, but okay. And that is probably one of the most, well, all of these are major changes, but I have switched from a SQLite database system because for the SQLite I was using a wrapper called Complex Wrapper, and it's a really good wrapper, but it didn't fulfill my needs anymore, so I had to switch from that. So as you can see, Joxno DB, weirdly enough, I got home and I sat for around 4 hours and just made my own database system. Just because I felt like, okay, my game needs another database system. I might as well just go in. It's quite simplistic. I'll go into detail about the database system later on. But those are the general changes. Well, the most major ones at least. So, see you soon. Well, in a couple of seconds when it clips over. Alright, so first one up is the water system. So, what have I done to my beloved water system? Okay, so, as I said earlier, it can handle, well, an immense amount of tiles and still have roughly about 200, 300 FPS. Well, enough. Enough FPS to have the game running smoothly. So, what did I do? Earlier, I had everything in an array, I think, and then I had them in a linked list, and blah, 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 blah. Lots of stuff, and so I think now I have an array and a linked list to make it quicker, but that's just internal code. So what I've done is I've split up all of the whole map for only the water system, not like I've split up the whole map system, but just the water system, that it handles the water system in chunks. So basically there's like I've split them up. The chunks hold 32 times 32 tiles. If you can't read my handwriting, I can't even read my handwriting, so. But yeah, you have 32 times 32 tiles, which is more than enough to cover the whole screen. And yeah, basically that equals, I think, 32 water chunks across 32 times 32. Obviously, water chunks across the whole map to cover 1024 times 1024. So, okay, so what I've done is I couldn't run the whole simulation simultaneously, like across the whole map, which is really slow and basically impossible unless you have like the greatest computer ever in the whole world. Maybe a supercomputer, but mine is quite old. Still doable. You know, I can still play games on it. So, and I can still code this game. So, I know it'll work on older PCs. So, what I've done is I've split up the simulation. So, let's say you're on this chunk, that one right there. So, you're on that chunk, and to move the water in real time, it moves it 0.1 float value per 100 milliseconds. I'm not sure about the timing yet. I have to tweak that a little bit, but you know, you'll get the general concept, the general idea from me explaining this. So, okay, so let's say you're on that chunk and it renders, it updates in real time. But as I said, I can't run the whole simulation simultaneously. So what I did was the chunk that is closest, I'm using just a distance one. So I check what chunk the player's on, and then I basically take the distance between them. So, and I times them. So in this next 32 times 32 chunk, I do 0.2 float per 200 milliseconds. Therefore, causing the system to update less tiles per second than it would have if you were updating everything in real time. But it moves double the amount. So basically what you lose, you gain in the end. So it basically runs it runs a decent simulation, and it works quite well, so I have no problem with that. Maybe you guys out there have a problem with it. I haven't seen a problem yet, but as far as I know, it's working correctly, and with this system I can handle quite a lot of tiles, so I'm not worried about the water system anymore. So that is basically the only thing I've done to the water system, and that's the general workings of the water system for now. I might go back and make some changes, and as I said earlier, I have to tweak the milliseconds, and I think my time my interval is probably around like a second or something, so it's really slow in some chunks, so I have to go back and see what my system can handle per frame and per second, etc. But yeah, that's all for the water system. Okay, so the newest edition, well, not really newest, but almost newest edition is the WeatherSystem. So I haven't completely finished it yet, but I'm going to talk about what I have finished and how it works. So basically I have clouds right now. Yeah, they have movement, so they can move to a random location, which they do. I'm not sure if I'm going to go into such complexities as wind pushing them away. I might do something like that. I'm not sure quite yet, but So it has movement, and it also has rain. So it actually does have downpour. So far, I don't have snow or anything because I haven't added the temperature system yet. So when I add the temperature system, do expect, for example, snow and, well, that's all there is, rain and snow. Because we live on the Earth. Okay, so besides from that, when I add the temperature system, I will add biomes, etc., and there will be different humidity zones and all of that sweet stuff coming up later. Not in this video, but do expect an update very soon when I get that working. Okay, so what do I need to add to the clouds in the weather system? Okay, so right now it doesn't have any, it doesn't get automatically created. Because I mentioned earlier in the water system you have these chunks, and I'm basically going to remove a certain, or maybe a percentage, or maybe just a certain amount of water per update. So it actually, you know, the water kind of disperses into the air. So you the water chunks hold a water pool, and when that water pool reaches a threshold, it creates a cloud and sends it on its way with the water pool. So besides from creation, and this is kind of cool, lightning. So basically when two clouds or several clouds come into a close proximity of each other, they'll basically start lightning. Yeah, start lightning, right? But they'll basically, you know, cause each other to become statically charged. Basically like real life. But that's how I'm going to implement lightning. So just a close proximity and shouldn't be too hard. What I haven't figured out yet, if I should add, is if clouds should have altitude. So if you have like a really big mountain and the cloud has a lower altitude than the mountain and it crushes into the mountain, it should like automatically start raining and stuff like that. I'm not sure. I haven't finished the weather system completely yet, but do expect some pretty sweet stuff with the weather system because I have a lot of stuff planned, and I think it's quite interesting and quite a nice addition to the game, and it's dynamic stuff. But yes, that is the weather system for now. Alright, so the newest addition is the database system that I've changed from the SQL complex wrapper, SQLite rather, but it's still an SQL database, so whatever. But I have basically made my own. It's very simple. It's not really that hard. It's just a bunch of text files, not even binary files, just text files with data on every line that I just read in, dump into the database, and then read from the game. So basically, what we have here is wow, Joxno. I know I name everything Joxno. I'm bad with names. Like when I play a game, I I sit for half an hour just thinking what name should I take. So I just go with one general one. Okay, so this is the kind of header file for all of the tables. It shows the structure for the tables. This is basically the structure. I'll get into that in just a second. And here, as I just took player for example. So this is the table that holds the data for several players or one player, etc. So going over here for the header file, which was the Joxno header jox, just hjox, and so this is the header file, the structure for all the tables, just a kind of a basic SQL kind of structure. So you have start table, and that basically says to the, well, I think you can figure it out what it tells the database system to do. Allocate a table, yeah. So, and then we have the name of the table on the first line, The second line is the column amount. How many columns exist in the table for the structure, and then it's just, oh, I forgot an E there. Great. Nam. Column nam. No, column name, and the dots are for, you have to type in every column name. Well, not you, but I have to, which is just lovely. But by using text files, I don't have to go into an SQL console and write loads of SQL commands. Even though they're not hard, it's just time consuming, and it's quite nice to just be able to start table, write everything in, and then be done. So something you might have noticed is that I only have column names, and this is the structure for the tables. Well, that's because everything is saved as strings, so I kind of don't need any data types. I do that in the database. Rather, I have functions that convert to integer, float, etc. So I just convert it when I need it to be anything else than string, or if I need it to be integer. Which is, most of my game is just integers and strings. So I don't need anything else. So basically, another point I want to talk about is for the database system compared to the old one. The old one, it was kind of hard because it was a precompiled library, you know, a third-party library from SQLite, and I can't really go in and change a lot of code, nor do I want to go into the wrapper and change code, because it's a good wrapper, Compex. You know, I Google it, it's kind of good. If you just want to start out with SQLite, it's really simple, and if you're comfortable with just the general SQL language, it's a good wrapper. But besides from that, what I didn't like was that first of all, I didn't want to go into the wrapper and change a bunch of code, because first I'd need to, you know, read the code and just be like, okay, I understand the structure, what this guy's doing, or girl, what this person is doing, and then start changing code around. And I didn't want to do that, and I can't go into the DLL. I think there's source files, but I didn't want to compile it. It's just a big mess, because those types of libraries are, you know, for general stuff. So they make the libraries for quite a lot of people and companies, etc. Well, so I wanted something that was specific for my game, just completely specific, and so I coded my own database. The only thing I haven't implemented yet is I've implemented the read functions, but I haven't implemented the write functions. So when I get the write functions in, I can start multi-threading a lot easier, which I couldn't really do in the other ones. Well, I tried once, but it was just hassly, and stuff wouldn't compile, and I spent 5 hours doing something which was just didn't work, so I just wasted 5 hours doing nothing, more or less. So by using this system, it's quite easy. It's not, you know, probably not the greatest system in performance or memory, etc., but I have control over every little function that I do, so I can control it a lot easier. And it also adds a kind of abstraction, yet again. Like, before, I just loaded everything from the hard drive into the game. I just loaded everything, and then I was done. But now I load everything from the database into the database handler inside the game, and then the game gets the data from the database handler. Now, yes, of course, you probably see a problem with this, because then you have data at 3 different places. So if I want to change it in one place, I have to change it in the 2 other places. Yes, you know, it's a risk, and it's a downfall that I'm willing to take, but I still have a lot more structure and a lot more control over what type of stuff I'm doing. So that's quite nice, and that is basically all I have for the database system for now. Alright, so I'm going to show you a little video of the game so far. There's not a whole lot of stuff added yet. Mostly it's just stuff in the back end being restructured and just systems being added. So as you can see here, it's I got the new sprite in, so all of the textures are so far made by me. No more Link. I'm sorry, Link is gone. But at least we have this cool wizard looking dude. Hopefully, I hope you like him. I kind of like him, and for being a programmer, I think it's quite a feat to actually be able to make a decent looking sprite. So, and as you can see here, oh, something I forgot to mention earlier was the addition of generated maps. So now I actually have my hill point stuff added in. It's not completely finished yet. There's quite a lot more tweaks that needs to be made. Need to be made, probably. But you can see the general purpose. As you can see here, there are holes in the ground. I mean, lakes could be here, and these are hills. It's quite hard to see how tall they are or how high they are, like the altitude of the hill, because of the graphics. But I'll eventually change that, and it'll look superb. Alright, so as you can see, everything works so far, unless it crashes. It's 7 a.m. right now. I've been up all night, so hopefully it won't crash. So, okay, so let's try the cloud system out. Let's see if it works. And there we go. I created a cloud, and as you can see, it rains. Yes, that's rain, and you will see a bug in, or well, not a bug, just a feature that I haven't added yet. I was talking earlier about adding into the water system that the water depletes or kind of gets removed for each update. Now, as you can see, the cloud depletes itself, and all the fluffs, random fluffs, are being torn apart into tiny particles, or well, it rains down to the ground, and that's done, as you can see here. So, and also I was talking about the chunk stuff earlier, and as you can see here, perfect example. Now, it shouldn't be like this, obviously, because everything on screen will be updated in real time, but I haven't made that tweak yet. But as you can see, the border, borders right here between chunks. One chunk here, one chunk there, and top right, top left, bottom, etc. So as you can see, this updates in real time, and the other one updates a little bit slower. So it still moves quite a lot of water. It moves the water that the real-time one would. So, but as you can see, it can handle it perfectly, and I went into a hole, and I can't get out of the hole. Yeah, as you can see, exactly, yeah. So I'm just gonna stay in this hole and spawn another cloud. Oh, and the cloud, as I also forgot to mention earlier, the clouds are the shape is randomly generated, so no cloud is the same as the other one. And as you can see, the fluffs are removed yet again, so that's quite nice. We can spawn another one. You can pump loads of them. Now this, I haven't optimized the cloud system yet, so it will lag a tiny bit. And wow, yeah, on-screen bug. Sorry about that. It should not remove all of the clouds. I have to go in and check that later. But that's everything for now. And I thank you if you've watched this whole video through everything. It'll probably be quite a long one. Or well, if you have, you've already seen it. So, but thank you for staying and listening to me rambling on about concepts and my game. And I will see you guys later. Bye. Congratulations! You have finished the video, most likely.
and I thank you immensely for that. If you would like to get a hold of me, maybe send off a comment, I guess on YouTube, but I don't really look at the comments on YouTube. But, I will. Or if you want to reach me more directly, my Twitter is @Joxno. So, and also, if you really do enjoy my videos and would like to see more of them, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it. I like making these videos, and I like just telling people about programming in general, game deving, and especially about this game.